All right. How is everybody doing? This is L.A. Kendrick with another tale from the vault of Would You Dare? And what I'm going to bring to you guys today is a story you may not have ever heard of, because I've never heard of this story myself. But you know what? I'm going to bring it to you raw and unedited. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. We talk about everything scientific, science factual, and occasionally on other topics as well. But primarily, this is what we're talking about. All right? So, you guys have heard of vampires, I'm sure, right? But I had no idea this was popping off down in New Orleans at a particular time, right? So, what we have here is it's a story that took place in New Orleans about the Carter brothers, all right? So the party don't start till you walk in, and now that you're here, let's begin, all right? The Legend of the Carter Brothers, New Orleans sibling vampire duo. Okay, this is an article that I pulled up. It says the Louisiana city of New Orleans is infamous for many things, like streets filled with debauchery during Mardi Gras, and infamous murders like Madame La Rue. Its blood-soaked history is filled with monsters disguised as regular people, with tales of witchery, ghosts, and vampires around every corner. Two of the lesser-known fiends of New Orleans are actually a pair of brothers named John and Wayne Carter. Legend has it that the two dock worker brothers were vampires who snatched up more than a dozen victims, and in the 1930s was holding them captive in their shared home in order to drain and drink their blood. After one of the prisoners escaped, their shared home and alerted police. The full scope of their mania was released. While the brothers were tried and executed for their crimes, many claim to still see them haunting the streets of New Orleans, taking their place in the grand lore of the city. All right, so this is how it happened. In 1932, a young girl escaped from the house shared by the brothers John and Wayne Carter. As she made her way down Royal Street, a New Orleans police officer stopped her and listened to her incredible story. Supposedly, she and others were tied up in the Carter home so the pair could drink their blood. The girl had her wrist cut to enable a long, slow bleed, and depending on the report, she either offered to take the officers back to her former prison on the corner of Royal Street and Saint Anne Street, or was rushed to the hospital. Regardless of how, the police did make it back to the Carter home to investigate the girl's claims of vampire in the French Quarter. The police made it to the Carter home and found that the residents were absent. Upon breaking in, authorities allegedly found upwards of a dozen bodies with wrists slit and blood drained. There were at least 4 captives still tied up to chairs with bandaged but bleeding wrists. Some bodies were wrapped in sheets, and all appeared as though they had been there for many days. The Carter brothers, who were nonchalantly working their dock job, unworried about their prey escaping and alerting authorities. So the police decided to wait in the brothers' apartment for them to return to apprehend them. Okay. Some sources say the police left 10 of the largest officers in the Carter apartment to take on the alleged vampires. When they returned after dark to feed, apparently the brothers worked from pre-dawn to dusk, removing the bandage from the captives' wrists and drinking their blood before wrapping them up again. When the brothers walked into the apartment this night, it supposedly took 7 or 8 officers to subdue them, and they were 2 average-sized men. One of the versions say that the brothers, each standing around 5'6" and weighing under 160 pounds, did fight off 4 officers and left from their balcony. Unharmed, the 2 bolted off into the night. Police regrouped and decided to hit the docks where the Carter brothers worked the next day. One of the stories that I saw, it said they ran off at lightning speed. Okay, in the version which the Carter brothers escaped the ambush in their apartment, they made the mistake of keeping their everyday routine. They showed up for work at the docks the very next day, and the police arrested them. As soon as they were in cuffs, John and Wayne supposedly began admitting they were vampires and asked the police to go ahead and kill them because they would continue capturing people and drinking their blood if they remained alive. Really? At least one version of the Carter brothers' legend says they escaped immediately after the captive did. Most of the stories see them tried as serial killers in court, but presumably unable to convince the court of their superhuman status. They were held accountable for their actions, found guilty, and sentenced to death for their crimes. After their executions, held either immediately or years later, their guilty verdicts, the men were laid to rest in their family vault in New Orleans. I'm gonna keep going here. Said that the tomb was opened later, and the vault holding John and Wayne Carter was open to slide in a new casket, because I think that was the final family member of that bloodline had died. However, the vault allegedly held no trace of the brothers' remains at all. It said that vampires love the blood of family members best, and at the procession of vampire remains to the New Orleans cemetery is zigzagging, one to confuse the deceased's sense of direction. Apparently this was enough to keep the Carter brothers away from their kin, but not enough to keep them from escaping their tomb. It's kind of weird wording. Okay. Let me see here. Ever since the entombment and subsequent escapes from the family vault, people have reported seeing the brothers out and about in New Orleans. Some living in their apartment location in the house on the corner of St. Anne and Royal Street claim he saw two men on the balcony just as they did the day the police ambushed them. The pair of spectators leaped from the balcony and into the ether. Other stories about the brothers' return center around the celebration of Mardi Gras, with their favorite pastime being whispered on, then jumping from balconies. Let me see. Supposedly, one victim named Philippe went on his rampage of blood drinking, tallying at least 32 victims. His diary was found in Bourbon Street dwelling and documented his descent to madness, reporting crazy dreams of blood. He disappeared from the city in 1949. Another source alleges that the different vampire emerged from the Carter apartment, eventually racking up a total of 442 people. There's no mention of drinking the victim's blood, but the vampire did allegedly dissolve bodies in acid instead. Dang. One victim escaped vampirism, but reportedly committed herself voluntarily to an insane asylum after her ordeal. They say the building is still standing on the corner of Royal Street and St. Anne. It's being rented to tenants. Some residents see brothers whispering on balconies before jumping to the street and running off. Supposedly the house lease is broken quite often due to strange happenings in the form of vampire layers. The brothers also reportedly run loose through the city, terrifying those who recognize them. That's the end of that one, right? That's the end of that article. And I'm thinking, let me see here. There was another one that I had looked at and that I had seen. Let me see. These guys are crazy, and I've never heard this story before. It's pretty intriguing. They said something about, I saw, because I wanted to see, this is one of the few times I've ever tied in and went in and tried to look at additional stuff. Normally I just let it do what it do. But I think, here it is, I think this is the one. Let me see. Trying to get to the good stuff. Because the cops broke in. They said that these guys actually knocked 4 of the cops unconscious. Let's see. Well, I can't find that particular title or that particular article, but they say that in 1978, two reporters wanted to go in and actually see if the remains were still there. And when they did, they asked the priest. The priest, of course, denied them access to the tomb. And when they did that, the 2 guys jumped the fence the next night. Later that night. And when they did, I'm doing this off of memory. They jumped the fence, went in, and those 2 men were never heard from again. Now, when they found, actually they were heard from as far as, in death, but not in life. And what they had found was the 2 guys had, one of them had practically been decapitated, and all of the equipment that they had was strewn about and damaged, all the recording equipment. And 80% of the blood had been drained from their bodies. So the blood drain could be from anything, but the way they're wording it and putting it, it's as if the brothers came back and got them. That's pretty intense, man. I don't know what you guys think. Would you dare want to be caught in New Orleans like that? With some blood drinking vampires? There's a lot of stories that go on down there, man. I find it fascinating. And these are the things that we talk about here, because these are the things that I write about in my Benefits of a Bully book, that series, and the Destiny versus Chaos series. And I'm trying to finish up the Foes of God novel as well. So, what do you guys think, man? Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Please leave a comment. Tell me what you guys think about this, because again, I'm just writing about stuff, and this is giving back to the fans and people that have supported my books and my writings for the past 10 years. So, I should have the Foes of God done by September. I'm going to move it up a little bit, give myself a little bit of time, a little bit of breathing room, try to collect a little bit more funds, and get the stuff done properly so I can, definitely let you guys see the incredible finale of this, the Destiny versus Chaos series. And that's all I got for right now. So remember, man, check your closets, check the dark recesses of your home. I'm telling you, if you work late at night or way into the wee hours of the morning when there's limited light and visibility, you make sure when you step outside, you're aware of your surroundings. You're mindful of your surroundings. You check inside of your car. You check under your car. Because you never know what's lurking in the dark, waiting to make you a story. And this has been L.A.KENDRICK with another tale from the vault of Would You Dare. You guys fill in the rest.